Hey, I'm Jessica, and welcome to your reality check. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode where I check off your list with Love Island episodes 10 and 11. Wow, this has got to be the best episode I have ever seen in reality TV history. I'm talking about episode 10. Wow. The last 20 minutes had me in a chokehold. It was such good television. The entertainment value was a 12 out of 10. I was on the edge of my seat the entirety of the episode. Man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss. I really hope this isn't gonna be too long of an episode, but I'm just gonna put it out there. I apologize in advance because wow, so much has gone down in these two episodes. This season is delivering. I know a lot of people, myself included, was like, how is this season going to shape up against last season? And look, we're 10, 11 episodes in, and it is delivering. Let's get into the craziness of episode 10. But before we get into the last 20 minutes, we got to start from the beginning. So last episode ended with Hannah and Pepe making out on the sofa. And at that point, I think all of America saw that and was like, okay, we want to vote for Hannah and Pepe to be coupled up with each other because it looks like they have insane chemistry. And it wasn't even just about us seeing the chemistry that they had. Even Hannah was just expressing how into Pepe that she was. So that episode ended with them making out, like I said, and then the beginning of this episode started with Hannah and Pepe coming back essentially from the speakeasy. They meet the group outside, and Nick calls out Pepe. He's like, bro, you got some lipstick and makeup on your face. So he essentially technically exposed himself because he didn't think to wipe his face clean from all of Hannah's makeup. And Austin was there. He overheard everything. Clearly that made him feel really upset or a certain type of way for his boy Charlie. Austin and Charlie are BFFs in the villa. So then he goes and runs over to tell Charlie that Hannah and Pepe just finished making out. I mean, okay, come on, Austin. Why you gotta go spread that right away? Like, I think too, the one thing that I really liked is that Hannah came clean with Charlie right away. She told him exactly what went down. She didn't hide anything from him. And I think Austin should have gave Hannah the opportunity to tell Charlie what happened before he went to go run and tell on them. Like, I think if maybe the next day went by or 2 days later, Charlie wasn't made aware of what went down, then yeah, I think it is kind of fair game for Austin to tell Charlie, hey, look, like, I don't know if Hannah told you this, but I know for a fact that her and Pepe made out or are, trying to get to know each other or whatever it may be. But give Hannah the opportunity to tell Charlie what happened, because shortly after Charlie found out, Hannah went to go pull him for a chat. And she was very open and honest about it. And I really, too, liked when the group was talking about it, when Hannah and Charlie went off, Olandria was like, guys, it's week 2. It's still early, because Nick was like, how would you feel if I went and kissed someone while I was coupled up with Cierra? And Olandria's like, it's week 2. This is where we all should be experimenting. We should all be pulling people for chats and seeing if we have any other connections in the villa versus the one that we're currently with. That's why we're here. And she was like, it's week 2. I can't fault anyone for doing that. And I specifically cannot fault Hannah for doing that. So I did like that, because it's like also too, Nick, you're literally the one that's calling out Jeremiah and Huda for not experimenting, for not talking literally to anyone. You're literally saying you guys are so closed off from day one, and he's so vocal about it. But then when someone else does it, then he says, well, why would you go and do that to your partner? Why are you expressing interest in them? You're already coupled up with them. And we'll get to it in a bit because Nick, I'm not going to lie, frustrated me in this and in the next episode when I just feel like he is saying one thing and then reacts a certain way. He's reacted one way and then says something different. He is confusing me, I have to say, in these episodes. And I think at the end of the day, it's week 2. Experiment, do what you need to do before Casa Amor, because once Casa Amor hits, that's kind of when things really shape up, and that's, I feel like, when we get the front runners of the season, and that's when you really need to embrace your relationships and hit the ground running with them, essentially. But I think anything up until Casa is fair game. That's just what I think. So Hannah and Charlie go for their little chat. And like I said, she was very honest with Charlie, which I liked. And I really loved and respected Charlie's reaction to Hannah, to her face. And I say to her face because he had a very different reaction and he said something very different in his confessionals, like his one-on-one time with America. But I thought the way that he reacted with Hannah was really respectable. He said, you know what? You're a grown girl. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. And I think that is exactly what Huda should be doing, right? Like, he's not putting barriers around them. He's not constraining her. He's like, okay, if you want to explore what else is out there, then go for it. He's saying that to her face, but then on the flip side, to the camera in his confessionals, he's like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And he's like, this sucks. It sucks to think. It sucks to hear. And I like that he didn't say that directly to Hannah, because I then think Hannah's reaction throughout the episode is the reason why she then went back to Charlie. So it was very smart on Charlie's end, because I think if Charlie put constraints around her and was like, no, like, we've been coupled up for I don't know how long it's been, 3 days? Things move fast in the villa, but he was like, no, I want to be with you. I don't want to explore anything. I think we should be exclusive. You should not be kissing Pepe. You should not be exploring anything. If he does that, then that's going to make Hannah want to do that even more. And that's exactly what Huda is doing to Jeremiah, right? She's putting these constraints on him, like this, he's in this chokehold essentially. So I think the way that Charlie played this whole situation, it was top notch. And I did like seeing, as the audience, his actual internalized reaction to it all. He was like, no, I'm not okay with it. I don't really want her to be exploring, but what am I going to say to her? And I think it was just so well played. I think people should be taking notes, because if you want someone if you have eyes for someone and you don't want to see so overbearing on them, take a step back, be chill about it, because that in turn is going to make them be like, oh, why aren't they so into me? Or, oh, like, you want to always take a step back. You don't want to be so overpowering on people. So anyways, great job to Charlie, because I mean, it sucks because we all watched the episode. So I'm just going to spit out spoilers as we go, but sucks that he was eliminated in this episode. I mean, at the end of the day, sure, he played this situation right. It didn't save him from moving on with the show, but I thought the way he reacted was really well done. And I also really love the fact that he started pulling girls for chats. He pulled Iris. He pulled Amaya. Like, this guy was pulling all the stops, because, I mean, I think he did it for a few reasons. Number one, he did it because Hannah is exploring things with Pepe. And so I think he, number one, pulled the girls for chat to make her jealous, but also, two, for like an insurance policy. They didn't know that there was going to be a recoupling that day. They also didn't know how the recoupling was going to play out. I think the guys chose the girls the first time. So in his mind, he's like, I need to find a connection with someone if Hannah's going to go with Pepe, because the girls are picking the guys in the next round. I mean, that's what they thought. It still hasn't happened yet. We're on episode 11 and the girls still haven't chosen who they want to be coupled up with. It's been the guys, which I think is very, very interesting. Obviously, the producers are trying to put a storyline out there. You know, they want it to happen a certain type of way, and with that is with the drama of the guys choosing. But needless to say, I think he did it because he wanted to have an insurance policy, but he also did it because he wanted to make Hannah jealous. And again, I thought it was good. I think him though going up to Amaya being like, look, I have had an interest in you since I've been here. I've always had a soft spot for you. I think the guy was just grasping at straws. I never saw the connection with him and Amaya whatsoever, but like I said, I think he just did it to somehow secure his place in the villa. And the way that Amaya reacted, I thought it was way too much. She was doing the most with her reaction. She started bawling her eyes out, and I think she was crying because I think she genuinely just wasn't into Charlie. And I think her reaction in saying, I would never do that to Hannah, who's my best friend, I think that was kind of just an scapegoat situation, like to basically be like, I'm not into him, but I don't want to tell him that I'm into him, so I'm just going to use Hannah as an excuse so that, you know, I can kind of just squash this. But I'm also like, Amaya, what are you thinking? You literally have no connection here. So at the end of the day, play the game. I don't know any guy that'll actually choose Amaya. So she really needs to play the game regardless if Hannah is quote unquote your best friend. But Amaya, you've known Hannah for 3 days. You're on Love Island. Everyone needs to stop playing Friendship Island and they need to be on the show Love Island, because I'm sorry, I can't buy into the fact that you and Hannah are best friends of 3 days. You know what I mean? And so you're not going to explore a potential connection with Charlie or with any other guys that you're friends with. Like, it's the same thing. If Nick were to say to Olandria, I want to explore this connection with you. To me, I actually think Nick and Olandria have something there. I know that Olandria would be like, I am never doing that to Cierra. And it's just like, you guys have known each other for 9 or 10 days. And also too, Amaya, you're a bombshell. You came into the villa needing to stir things up. So you need to play the part of the bombshell. So I'm not loving the fact that they're on Friendship Island. I think I get it. You know, people want to be a girl's girl. They also don't want to have negative reactions from the audience. Like, I totally understand. But I also just think too, for Amaya, you have no connection. So you also need to start exploring and putting yourself out there, because you're not going to make it far. People aren't going to keep you around because you have no connection. So I think Charlie approaching Amaya, I do think he was grasping at straws, but I also think too, I like the fact that he put himself out there at least, because he knows what he needs to do because he's on a show. And if he doesn't make those connections, if he doesn't put himself out there, then he's going to be gone. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened to our boy Charlie. I feel like I'm going to go in and out of the ending throughout this episode because I just feel like it's easier to tie in storylines that way. But right before the recoupling, we saw Hannah and Charlie have this conversation of her coming to the realization that basically her and Pepe's connection is strictly physical. They don't really have anything else going on. That's essentially what she's saying. And I'm like, I feel like she is flip-flopping every single episode. Every single day, she's saying something different. Oh, I want to be with Charlie. Oh, now I want to be with Pepe. Oh, no, sorry. Actually, now I want to be with Charlie. And I'm just like, they kept saying that the conversation that they had was so incredible and it was so amazing and they felt all these feelings. They were both open and honest with each other. She essentially says, I feel like I needed to do what I did with Pepe so that I can realize what I had with you. And now I know that I want to be with you. And I'm just like, okay, Hannah, you needed to make out with Pepe 2 times to realize that you wanted to be with Charlie. Like, I don't know. Hannah is kind of confusing me a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like she kind of goes guy to guy to guy. We'll see, you know, now that Charlie's gone, we'll see what happens with her and Pepe. And I feel like if another guy comes into the villa, I feel like she'll just totally go for them. I don't think she is really tied down whatsoever. And I think she has no issues going to another guy, which I guess you can argue her being a bombshell, that's kind of exactly what she needs to do. But I just was very confused with the whole Pepe Charlie thing on her end, because I just think that she moved on from each of them very, very quickly to then go back to Charlie and be like, literally in 12 hours, oh no, I want it to be with you. And then for her to be so devastated at the fact that he was eliminated from this episode. We'll get to it, but I don't, she was just, I think it was just not, I don't want to say it was performative, but it was a lot. Her reaction to Charlie going home was a lot. There were so many tears shed. It was a lot going on. I get it. It's emotional, but I don't know. I was like, do we think that she's going to leave? I'm going to leave with Charlie, but I was like, there's no way. This is just such a big opportunity. There is no way that she's going to leave the villa for Charlie, who she's literally known for 3 days, and she's only been on the island for 3 days. I'm like, there's no way Hannah is going to leave for Charlie. But I also think too, I guess I'll get it to at the end as to why I think Charlie was the one to leave. I think his conversation with Amaya was maybe a lot to do with it and why Amaya voted for him. Let's save that until the end. But the conversation with Amaya kind of was his downfall into why he ended up leaving the villa. That's what I think. And I think that's why Amaya voted for him. But we'll save that until the end of this episode because I definitely have some thoughts. I want to quickly just touch on Austin and Chelley for a hot moment because honestly, I'm very over these two. And it's so funny because literally in my notes, I'm like, how are they still a thing? How on episode 10 is Austin and Chelley still a thing? I don't see it. There's literally zero chemistry whatsoever. And I think in this episode, we see that Austin is just really frustrated and annoyed with the fact that it's just the Chelley and Ace show in the villa. And he confronts Chelley and he's just like, look, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's really hard to not count myself out when all I see and all I hear is Chelley and Ace. I really liked her response to Austin because I think Austin was playing the, be sorry for me card. And Chelley was like, look, Ace has been putting all of this effort. He's not only been making me breakfast, but he's been putting together little dates every single day that makes me feel seen, that makes me know and feel that he wants to continuously get to know me. And I think for Austin, it's like, you have needed to step up your game. If you actually were into Chelley like you are saying you are, you needed to do way more than just hand her breakfast and make her breakfast every single day because he didn't do anything additional to that. So obviously, Chelley, if she's going to compare the two guys, of course she's going to go to Ace because Ace is showing her more. Ace is proving to her that he wants to be with her. I definitely have an opinion on Ace and Chelley together, and I don't think they are right for each other, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm seeing things online that maybe they were actually dating before the show. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I just think the fact that every single time a bombshell comes into the villa and Ace goes for them, to me, it's a red flag. And I understand you're on Love Island. You need to explore other connections. But for Ace, every single bombshell to walk in, for him to be into them and to want to explore them, that's a red flag. He did it with Amaya, and then he dropped her at the top of a hat. He did it for Iris, telling Chelley, and I'll get into that in a second, saying that I'm into her, I want to get to know her. And then throughout the episode and into episode 11, that was gone. So I don't know what he's doing. And to me, I just feel like he is trying to spread out his wings as much as possible and make all these different connections so that in the event that Chelley doesn't pick him in the recoupling, then maybe one of those girls would save him and pick him because he has made those strong relationships. That is one thing that I'm thinking. I also have been seeing things online with Ace in that maybe he's a producer's plant. Maybe he's not there, to be on the show. Maybe he's not there to explore connections, and maybe he is just a producer's plant and they're telling him exactly what to do, say, feel, think, act, all of that. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a possibility. I don't know if he's a producer's plant verbatim. Maybe he is. But I definitely do think producers are kind of controlling him. Like, I feel like he maybe is just like a good puppet for the producers to manipulate and to plant, because they know that maybe he'll do everything that they say because he is outspoken, or he is what, like, there's something about him. I cannot pinpoint what it is, but there's just something about him where, like, there is something intentional, some sort of hidden agenda that he has going on, which is so funny because everyone is saying that Huda and Jeremiah have a hidden agenda. I don't know what it is about Ace, but he's just giving me that vibe, and that's why I am still waiting for someone on Chelley's level to walk through the door. For now, Ace will do because there's no one else in there, but yeah, I mean, Ace is trying. He is trying, but I just feel like he is making the effort because he has some sort of agenda, and I don't know what that agenda is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he, like I said, he wants to make so many different connections so that, you know, his ass is covered. What if and when there is a recoupling and the girls have to choose? I don't know. There's just something there, whether he's a producer's plant, whether he has some sort of agenda up his sleeve on his own personal accord, whether him and Chelley had a mutual understanding of how they were going to come into the show because they knew each other outside of the show, whatever it is, there's something there, and I want to get to the bottom of it because I need to know. But for now, him and Chelley are together. It's fine. It'll do for now. I just rambled a lot about Ace, but I do want to go back to Austin and Chelley for a moment, because Chelley essentially says in her confessional, like, he is giving me defeated energy. I don't want to be with someone that I have to reassure, someone that I have to talk these things through. Like, I want you to be able to put in the effort, and if you can't show me that you're into me on your accord, and you're gonna let the outside noise, aka Ace, get to you and make you feel defeated and put you down, she's like, it's exhausting and I don't want to be with you. And that, I think, was the end of their relationship after that conversation. She really just loves the confidence that Ace has, and I can't blame her. Like, he has a lot of confidence. He's really good with his words. He's a very, very smooth guy. But the thing too that's so confusing, like I said, is when her and Ace then have a conversation after she chatted with Austin, Ace tells her that he wants to get to know Iris. And he's like, look, I'm just being open and honest with you. That's the relationship that we have, and I hope that you can respect that. And he's like, okay, Chelley, how do you feel after I tell you this piece of information? And she's like, well, it doesn't feel very good. What do you want me to say? And this is again where I'm just like, this guy is showing Chelley all of these things, all these qualities. He's doing the hibachi breakfast. He's doing the pancake ping pong. He's doing all these things, the yoga. But then he proceeds to say that he wants to get to know all these different people. I don't get it. Make it make sense. You know what I mean? So it's so hard for me to buy into this relationship where he is constantly, like Hannah, flip-flopping. But I would say he's flip-flopping even worse, because he's literally, him and Chelley have been there since day one. And now it's day 10, and he's wanting to get to know, like, the second or third bombshell after he's put in all this effort to wanting to get to know Chelley. I just don't understand. It's like he wants Chelley to be with him, and he doesn't want Chelley to be with Austin, but he still wants to get to know others. How is that fair? And I'm glad that Chelley clocked his behavior, because she's basically like, if that's what this guy wants to do, if he wants to explore a relationship with every single girl in the villa, I'm done. It's frustrating. It's annoying. And it's like you go from Austin to being frustrated, annoyed, exhausted for having him feel defeated. But now you're going over on the flip side to Ace, also feeling frustrated, annoying, and somewhat defeated, because you're putting all, I feel like now she's going to put all her eggs in one basket with Ace, and he's giving her like 50%. You know, it's so weird, because it's like his actions of him doing all these really nice things for Chelley are 100%, like, can be perceived as 100%. But then with him saying that he wants to explore other options, then that's, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. That's why I'm not Team Ace whatsoever. And I think hopefully some new bombshells enter the villa for Chelley, because I know that her man's is out there and he's coming. All right, our favorite couple, Huda and Jeremiah. Oh my gosh, these two. So this episode, it was about, remember in last episode, we talked about Pancake Gate. And essentially when Jeremiah made Huda uncooked pancakes, and then she got mad, and then she made him pancakes and said that, if he was a man, he would have been right beside her cooking with them, and Taylor had to cook them with her and all this stuff. So the conversation came about with Jeremiah and Huda, and he started talking about the pancakes and the way that she reacted with the pancake situation. And Huda looks at him and she was like, it's not about the pancakes. And any of my Vanderpump fans out there, the first thing that I thought of when she was like, it's not about the pancakes, all I could think about was, it's not about the pasta, Lala. Like, it's exactly the same thing. It's not about the pancakes, Jeremiah. Oh my gosh. I thought it was so funny. It's literally the first thing that I can think of. She essentially tells him that, she expected to wake up that morning and expect snap of a finger, everything to change. And he's like, and I agree with him. He's like, I just feel like I'm being tested. Like, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells because every single thing that I'm doing, I feel like you're watching me and I'm being tested, which it's funny because I think in the next episode, Huda's like, I'm watching you. I'm watching your every move. And literally she is. It's pretty wild. But I think the crazy part of this conversation is when Jeremiah told Huda that he had a conversation with Iris. And like the conversation was about Huda and his relationship with Huda. So she didn't take it as like, oh, so you're talking to Iris about me. Like in her mind, she'd be like, oh, good. Like you're not having just a nice chat with Iris, getting to know her. You're talking about me. In her mind, she should have been like, oh, okay, good. You're talking about me. If good or bad, I'm still on your mind. No. This girl went absolutely crazy when she learned that Jeremiah told Iris that they started off the morning with some issues. The way that she flipped. Her demeanor, her energy went from bad to worse. And she was like, excuse me? What did you just say? She is like, you should never, ever bring up our problems to anyone. Ever. And she's like, I don't know that. And she keeps calling these poor bombshells, these poor girls, she just keeps calling them B words, left, right, and center. And she's like, you never should bring that stuff up, especially our problems. You never, ever do that. Jeremiah's response to all of that was really confusing to me because he looks at her and he's like, you're cute. And then under the same breath, he then says, you're scary. And I'm just like, Jeremiah, you look scared. Speaking of scary, he looked terrified. And I don't know, his reaction, like, did he freeze? Did he forget his words? Like, was he just so shocked the fact that she just like reamed him out for just telling someone in the villa what went down between him and Huda that morning? It's just, I don't know. I don't know, maybe if he froze and he kind of just like forgot his words and just blurted out, you're cute. I feel like the producers and the editors are not letting us see Jeremiah's full reactions. Like that whole conversation was so spliced up. It was so edited. We barely got to see anything that Jeremiah sent. And again, it goes back to my point of not really seeing that many confessionals of Jeremiah. What did Jeremiah say to her? Because I'm telling you right now, after she just reamed him out, his first reaction was not, you're cute. And then you're scary. There was obviously banter, conversation between that. What did he say to her? And I'm finding it very frustrating because does Jeremiah really want to be with Huda? In this moment, I feel like from what I've seen, I actually feel like he does in episode 10. I can't say the same for 11 and 12 and onwards, but I can talk about episode 10 right now. I actually think he genuinely wants to be with her and is actually trying to work all of this out. And that's why I feel like production is hiding his responses to her, because I think they're trying to do Huda dirty and show us her crazy responses and her craziness and her conversations with Jeremiah. They're so one-sided because we're not really seeing his responses back. I think it was in the next episode, or maybe it was this one, where he says to her, oh, are you going to finally let me get a word in? Because, you talk over me for 30 minutes. So that I'm like, okay, I can see and I can hear that, sure, maybe she doesn't let him get a word in, but I also just feel like there's something missing. We're missing something. Based off of that conversation, I am so confused. I'm so confused where Jeremiah actually stands, because that conversation was so spliced up. We just saw Huda going absolutely crazy at him, but we obviously didn't see his response back to her. And that is what is so telling to me, because I do think that is speaking volumes. I feel like he is actually trying to make it work. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess time honestly will tell, but it was such a wild conversation. I mean, it wasn't even a conversation. Like I said, it was one-sided, but the way that she flipped her lid at him, it was so wild. But again, we just don't know Jeremiah's side of it. And it's because they're not letting us see. And why? Why is the main question. Why are we not seeing his response back? Why are we not seeing his reactions in his confessionals? And like I said, he genuinely looks scared. I want to know in the moment, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? What is he saying? I feel like he wants to be with her, but I'm confused, because that night that they had this conversation, they literally were in bed together and they did the deed. And that's why I'm kind of just like, to me, it seems like he does genuinely like her. Like, I don't know. I don't know what is going on. I want to know what he's thinking, what he's saying. The splicing up conversations is a little bit annoying, because I genuinely want to know his side of things. But I guess we have to kind of go by what we see in the hour of the episode. But there's something there. Like with Ace, how I'm like, I can't pinpoint what's going on with him. I can't pinpoint what is going on in Jeremiah's mind, because the fact that they're not showing us him, his reactions, his conversations with Huda, to me is they want to hide it from us. So I guess time will tell. All right, so we have a challenge this episode. Not really much to say on this challenge, other than the fact that Paige DeSorbro was the host. And this girl, so I don't watch Summer House, but of course I know who she is. I listen to her podcast, Giggly Swad. I love her. I think she's amazing. I don't know anyone that doesn't like Paige. This girl was wearing a full velour turtleneck dress, looking absolutely amazing. But the poor girl, halfway into the competition, into the challenge, she left. And I noticed it. The announcer said it. He's like, oh, Paige, step aside for the rest of the challenge. And I'm like, what happened to her? Where did she go? It's come out, and she said it on her podcast, that she basically is due to the outfit. She felt super sick. She felt super queasy and nauseous. She ended up throwing up during the challenge, and then she ended up fainting. And she was so mad because that wasn't the outfit she wanted to wear. She went to Fiji. She planned her outfit. She brought the outfit that she wanted to wear. I mean, if she's hosting a challenge, she should literally barely be wearing anything. She should be in a bathing suit and a cover up or whatever it is. Why would they have put her in a velour dress, like a turtleneck? Like, I get it's a beautiful dress, but that is not a dress for Fiji whatsoever. So it sucked. I felt really bad for her, but she left very gracefully. But yeah, I'm just like, poor girl, that must have sucked. And she went all the way to Fiji to be in the challenge, like to say a few lines and leave abruptly. That sucks. I know Fiji's not a close flight, and I don't think you can fly there direct. So, I mean, I'm sure she got paid tons and tons of money, so it doesn't really matter. But still, like, sucks for her. And maybe she'll be on the, whatever it's called, like the after Sun on Saturday night or something like that. It's nice to see that Bravo is bringing on people from their Bravo verse into Love Island, because obviously of Ariana, who is from Bravo, and now they brought on Paige. So I think the crossovers are great because it taps into new audiences, I'm sure. The other thing that I just want to say about this challenge really quickly is I don't know how everyone was just picking Olandria out of the beaver thing, but wow, she had, I don't know if you want to say bad luck or good luck, depending how you look at it. I wouldn't particularly like to be kissing all of those guys with back to back to back to back, but I think she was enjoying it. But yeah, she was very, very busy in that challenge. We saw Huda getting really upset at Jeremiah, kissing Olandria in the challenge. I like Jeremiah's response back to Huda. He's like, I'm just playing the game. I'm participating in the challenge. He's like, I want people to see me for me. I want people to get to know more about me and my personality and the fact that I am outgoing and can be outgoing and have fun. So I like that he's tapping into that. That's why he's here. I like that he is trying to make the most of everything. And I really like that he kissed Olandria in that challenge, because I think if the challenge happened 2 days ago, pre-Pancake Gate, I don't think he would have acted that way. I think he would have done exactly what Cierra and Taylor did, just like knocking and shaking the door. I don't think he actually would have kissed Olandria if it happened a few days ago, but now he's, here for the experience. He's here to take on a new leaf for himself. So I was very happy that he was making out with Olandria. What can I say? All right. Let's get into the recoupling, aka the moment we have all been waiting for. America has voted who the new bombshells should be coupled up with. I have so many thoughts. This was so insane. The one thing I do want to say, though, before I get into it, I was 100% accurate with all of my guesses, because everyone I predicted in the last episode got paired up and got coupled up with each other. So I will tip my hat for that, because I was 100% accurate on that. But I do just need to get into, it wasn't even so much the recouplings that was the most shocking. It was everything that happened after. So essentially, the recouplings that America chose were Jalen and Olandria. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that Olandria needed to test her relationship, or lack thereof, with Taylor. We know that her and Taylor really don't have any sort of physicality going on. So no surprise that America partnered her up with Jalen. No surprise with this one either. Pepe and Hannah, America voted for them to be together. Again, she showed interest in Pepe. It looked like they had a really strong physical attraction to each other. She even made that known. They were making out everywhere. So it just made sense that that is who America chose to couple up Pepe with. And last but not least, again, no surprise there, but man, oh man, when it happened, it was a banger. Iris and Jeremiah getting coupled up with each other. We didn't know what the America vote meant. We didn't know if it was actually going to happen. We didn't know if it was going to be a tiebreaker or something, or if someone was in the bottom, then that would decipher who gets coupled up with who and then who leaves. Like, there were so many question marks, and the fact that it was just literally verbatim, America, who do you want to couple up with? Okay, that's who you vote. Done. Like, absolutely crazy. And like I said, it was not for the audience. I don't think it was shocking to see these couples. It was the reactions and the aftermath that was just giving, and why it was the most insane episode of reality TV. I mean, I don't know if I want to say in TV history, because I think but the bar is high. Like, it's got to be top 5. It's got to be top 5. Like, obviously, Sandoval, that is one of the most insane episodes of reality TV I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, when they picked filming back up. So this has got to be top 5 for sure. It was absolutely just so incredible. And the village reaction to Jeremiah and Iris's recoupling, every single person's jaws were dropped. And if your jaw wasn't dropped watching this, we need to talk. Because as much as I knew that it was going to happen, because that's what I thought that America was going to do, my jaw was dropped because I was like, wow, like it actually happened. Like we actually got him away from Huda. And Huda's response, she was like, what the F? Like, and Ace, meanwhile, everyone's jaws are dropped. Ace is dying of laughter. This guy is howling. And every single person is so confused. But Ace gets it because Ace knows exactly what's been going on. He's clocked it almost since day one about Huda and Jeremiah. He knows what America is seeing and thinking. And that's why America voted that way. And his reaction is so funny. And it's so accurate. Like, it's so true. That's what all of us, after our jaws dropped, we then started laughing because it's actually just so crazy. Like, it's just so wild that America voted for Jeremiah to leave the couple that he was with Huda to go to Iris. It's crazy. It's crazy. We've never seen anything like that. And then Huda perceives to say, and this is kind of when I started laughing, that her and Jeremiah have the best connection in the villa. And she's like, I don't understand why America voted this way. She's like, the only thing that I can think of is because when Iris came into the villa, she showed interest in Jeremiah. So she's like, I think America saw that and then wanted Iris to be with Jeremiah. And I'm just like, Huda, read the room. Like, first of all, you're putting the blame on Iris. And that's exactly what Huda constantly does. She constantly continues to place blame on other people. And it's so frustrating. She can never look within, and she hasn't done that to this point. And she hasn't said, oh, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the reason why America decided to split me and Jeremiah up. But no, she proceeded to blame Iris. She then proceeded to blame Jeremiah, which then will roll into episode 11 because, man, oh man, did she just lose her mind on Jeremiah because she thinks he's been lying to her this whole time. She thinks that we're seeing things that he's been doing and saying and acting that she hasn't seen, but America has seen. And it's just like, girl, you have no idea. And I wonder if this girl is ever going to watch this season back, because I do think that it should be a wake-up call for her. Wow, I actually acted this way. I treated people this way. I said these things about people. This is what I've called people. Man, this is a wake-up call. I need to change, the way that I approach situations, the way that I treat people. Like, I really hope that this humbles her. This whole experience humbles her when she leaves the villa. I really also want to say that I know she's getting a lot of hate, and by no means should anyone go and post on her page and write comments directly on her page. That 100% should not be happening, and I do not condone it. However, if you're going to act a certain type of way, if you're going to call people certain names and treat people with disrespect, then yeah, we are able to comment on it because you have put yourself out there on this show for us to, we're going to comment on it. So anyways, I just think she really needs to humble herself after this experience, because she has a lot to learn. Like, she really, really does. And respect is the number one thing that she needs to learn. Like, truly, honestly, because the way that she talks to people and the way that she treats these new girls, Iris to me is such a girl's girl. She is such a great girl. The way that she treats Iris, it's disgusting. The way that she treated Amaya as soon as she came into the villa and kissed Jeremiah, disgusting. And now all of a sudden, she's best friends with Amaya. Please. It's so frustrating. But anyways, so then what had to happen, whenever I talk about Huda and or Jeremiah, I just go on this long tangent. But anyways, let's circle back. Oh, that's a word I hate to use. Anyways, the Islanders that were not recoupled now have to vote essentially who they want to leave the villa. So the three that are now single and vulnerable are Charlie, Taylor, and Huda. And whoever wasn't recoupled had to then vote someone out of the villa. So this is too where things get a little interesting, actually quite interesting, because some of the votes were very questionable. So some of them made sense. Like, I totally knew that obviously Cierra and Chelley were going to vote out Charlie. They weren't going to vote out their girl Huda, and they weren't going to vote out Taylor because that's, their bestie Olandria's men. So I knew for a fact that Cierra and Chelley were definitely going to vote out Charlie. I also knew that Nick and Ace were definitely going to vote out Huda. Like, I wasn't surprised there at all. Amaya and Austin were question marks for me. I was like, this can go either way, honestly. And I am let's start with Austin. Austin, why did you vote for Taylor? You confused the heck out of all of us, because had Austin not voted for Taylor, and if he were to vote for Charlie or Huda, like, he would have been technically could have been the deciding vote. And I don't understand why he didn't vote for Huda, because that's how the other guys voted. I understand he was in the middle of the pack, but even after he had voted, he's like, oh man, I messed up. And then in the next episode, one of the guys asks him, can I ask, like, why did you vote for Taylor? And he's like, honestly, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was confused. And I'm like, you literally just wasted a vote. And this is where I honestly feel like they're somehow getting coached by production, because I genuinely do not think that Austin wanted to vote for Taylor. I mean, maybe he did, but to me, I'm like, there had to have been some signal from production somehow. I don't know. Obviously, we know that they're in the shadows. They're there. We can't see them, but we know that there's people there on set. And that, to me, when he voted for Taylor, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, production told him to do that. I don't know how. I don't know when. And I don't know. But that was my first thought. Also, Amaya. So here we have Amaya telling Charlie, telling Hannah that Hannah is her best friend. Meanwhile, Hannah then, and Charlie say that they had this incredible conversation right before the recoupling. He tells everyone, please don't vote me out. We had this amazing conversation. We want to be together. Please take that into consideration. Amaya, if you're saying you're Hannah's best friend, why did you vote Charlie out? I don't get it. It was so confusing to me. I don't understand why Amaya did it. She could have voted for Huda, and she could have voted for Taylor. She could have voted for Huda because of the way that Huda treated her, the way when she came into the villa, and she could have voted for Taylor if she wanted a burn vote. But no, she voted for Charlie. It was so confusing. And it's like, now you're literally saying that Hannah's your best friend, and that was the reason why you couldn't be with Charlie, but you're okay to vote him out, but she's your best friend. So that's why I think Charlie and Amaya's conversation kind of is the catalyst to her voting him out, because I think she was just, I don't know if uncomfortable was the word, but I just think she was kind of like, I don't want to be with this guy, and if he potentially wants to pursue me, I want nothing with it. I want nothing about it. So she just voted him out. I don't know. Two very, very confusing votes for me. But again, to me, Austin, I don't know. Maybe I'm just out of line for saying this, but I just feel like production was in the wing, doing a little T sign in the background, symbolizing to vote out Taylor. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. No one online, I feel like, can kind of piece it together, because there was really no rhyme or reason. I thought the way that Hannah reacted when Charlie got voted out of the villa, I thought it was way too dramatic. It was like a telenovela. It was so dramatic, and it was a little bit much, especially because you were just straddling Pepe not even 24 hours ago. And that's why I'm like, the girl keeps flip-flopping. She was with Charlie. She's then straddling Pepe. She now wants to be with Charlie again and is now bawling her eyes out because he's gone. And then we're going to see in the next episode, Charlie who? So, I don't know. It was so dramatic. I was like, were you just playing it up? I don't know. And I listened a little bit to Charlie's interview on Chicks in the Office. I think it came out yesterday. And they asked him, are you watching Hannah and how she's navigating through the villa? And he's like, honestly, because Pepe is still in the villa, I don't want to watch. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know what happens. And it's just like, I don't know, like I get it, but Charlie, you knew her for like 7 days. Like, I don't know how strong of a connection. Maybe you can, maybe I'm just oversimplifying it. I don't know how much of a strong connection you can have in 7 days, but to me, I just feel like you can watch the show. Why not? And then if she wants to leave the villa and come back to you, then welcome her with open arms. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting where he's like, no, I don't want to watch it because I don't want to know what she's doing with Pepe. Okay, that was a lot. I told you this is going to be a long episode. I'm almost an hour in, and now we're just getting to episode 11. So, episode 11 was very much the aftermath of the last episode of episode 10. And this is where, like I said, it was Ace actually that asked Austin, he's like, why did you pick Taylor? And again, Austin was like, I couldn't make a decision. I'm like, I don't buy it whatsoever. And then Nick was like, do you now see how you've literally just sent your best friend home? And he like starts crying, and he said that he felt like Huda and Jeremiah had a strong connection. I'm like, that's not a good enough answer, because you have been around as much as everyone here to see how toxic their relationship is, and you've witnessed it firsthand. So for you to say, oh, la-di-da, my head's in the clouds, and I just think that Huda and Jeremiah have a good connection, like, there's just no way. You've been around these guys too. Like, the guys are very open in how Jeremiah and Huda's relationship is so toxic. Like, you've been around that. You've been around the Pancake Gate. You've been around Huda just acting like Huda. Like, you've seen it all. It's not adding up, and that's why I just feel like there's something there going on. I don't know what it is, but to me, it just seemed very producer manipulated. That's honestly my opinion. The guys are calling out Jeremiah in this moment too, and I like that they're calling him out, but I also feel bad too, because he looks like he just saw a ghost. He just got recoupled up with Iris. He's not with Huda anymore, and now the guys are going in on him really hard, and I'm like give the guy a break a little bit. I feel like he's so overwhelmed. We see that is like the cascading effect throughout the episode between him and Huda, because he is so overwhelmed in this moment. I feel like he was just so, like, it looks like he saw a ghost. I feel like he never really caught his bearings. He was just so overwhelmed, and the guys are just going in on him, you know, telling him the reason why that they got rid of, or wanted to get rid of Huda. And it was because obviously they haven't been open. Both of them collectively haven't explored other people. Like I said, I like that the guys are calling him out, but in that moment, this guy, I think his brain, like his mind, was going to explode with everything that has just happened in the past hour. You know what I mean? It was so overwhelming, and I think too, that is the reason why he never went to Huda and, you know, asked her how she's doing and asked her if she's okay after everything that happened, which is literally the biggest storyline of this episode, hands down. There's so much to get into and talk about. I do agree with Huda on one thing. I definitely believe that he should have gone up to her and asked how she's doing. Oh my gosh, that was a crazy vote. Thank goodness you're still here. I can't believe that we got split up. Like, he definitely 100% owed her that. But I also see it from his perspective. I think he just froze. Like, I genuinely think he just literally forgot his words and he forgot where he was, what he was doing. I think he was just so overwhelmed. I can't blame him for that. So much changed in such a short amount of time. And I can't even imagine, too, what was going on in his mind. Him and Huda Why did America vote that way? What is America seeing that we're not? How is Huda in her confessionals? How is Jeremiah in her confessionals? Does America hate Jeremiah? Does America hate Huda? Like, there's so many things that I'm sure is just going on in their mind. But yeah, of course, in that moment, that night in particular, Jeremiah totally should have went to Huda. But I also don't think Huda should have reacted the way that she reacted. Like, I think she could have cut the guy some slack. I do, because the way that she reacted, it got worse and worse and worse throughout the episode, and is the reason why they are 100% not together, and the reason why I don't think they will ever get back together. I hope they don't get back together, because they are just beyond toxic, so toxic, beyond toxic. And I guess you can say it's a good thing that things played out the way that it did, so that he gets out of that toxic environment. But I don't know, it sucks, because now I just feel like we're in episode 11. Every single episode is getting worse and worse with the way that Huda is reacting and behaving and the things that she's saying. And now I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling uncomfortable being able to witness the things that she's doing, the things that she's saying. It's uncomfortable for me. And it's also uncomfortable for the Islanders. I can't even imagine how they're feeling. I also just think that she is hindering their experience and ruining their experience, because she is just making everyone so uncomfortable. She's making everything about her. And it's funny, because it was in this episode, and we'll get to it, where she blames Jeremiah and says that all he thinks about is himself, how selfish he is, how he's only done things for himself, how he's only thinking about himself, how he's selfish. And I'm like, Huda, are you sure? Like, have you literally looked at yourself in the mirror? Because every single little thing you've made about yourself, that's selfish. It's on you. It's on you. And it's just crazy to me how oblivious she is to all of it. I can't fathom it. It's wild. It's so crazy. And at this point, I think for her mental health, inside and outside of the villa, I think she needs to go. And I get it. Did I really want Huda to leave in the last episode? No, because she brings the drama, she brings the crazy. But now, watching her in episode 11, I'm like, I think she needs to go. Like, I think she needs to go for herself. I think she needs to go for her sanity. And I think also, too, just for the other Islanders to be able to enjoy their experience there, because it just seems so toxic. And I don't know how other couples are able to work on each other and get to know each other when they're just constantly dealing with the drama of Hurricane Huda. I don't know. So at the beginning of the episode, and for a very short moment, Huda is saying, I hope America doesn't hate me, but I feel like America does hate me. And says that, maybe I'm not good enough for Jeremiah, and she puts it on herself. So she's kind of, listen, hate is a strong word. I don't think no one should hate her for the way that she is acting on the show. I think, we dislike her, and we don't want to see her treat other people that way, right? Like, it's a very big difference. People shouldn't be hating her. But then Olandria gets in her ear, and as do all the other girls, and they said, I don't think America hates you or is against you. Maybe America knows something that they don't, and they did it for you. They've removed Jeremiah and you so that he can be with Iris, because they want the best for you. And then Huda basically, I guess that gets into her ear, and then she runs with that storyline that America tried to save her from Jeremiah, and she takes that and runs with it, and then basically makes stuff up in her head that Jeremiah has been lying to her this whole time, that he hasn't been honest, hasn't been truthful. And it's because literally Olandria said, maybe, Olandria doesn't know. She's like, maybe they did it, like they're just weighing out options. They did it to remove you from Jeremiah because they saw that he's a toxic man. Whatever it is, maybe he has a hidden agenda. But Olandria doesn't know. But Huda literally took that to heart and ran with it, and then just started spewing all of this insane nonsense at Jeremiah. It's getting exhausting. It's exhausting to watch. Listen, I don't think Jeremiah is innocent. I don't. Because I do think he was love bombing her at the very beginning of the season. I do. And that's why going back to my point earlier, like, I genuinely think he was into her. I do. But at the same time, the way that Huda is treating him and the way that she talks to him, it's not okay. And again, I'm glad that they're separated because they are just not good for each other at all. I just think she needs to check herself. I really do. I think she needs to look at herself in the mirror. And I think this is the thing. I think the girls need to start being honest with her because I really can appreciate that the guys are being honest with her. We saw Ace go up to her in this episode. We saw Nick go up to her in this episode. Ace tells her to her face that it looks like she has come in with an agenda because she coupled up with Jeremiah on day one. She didn't explore any other connections with any other guys in the villa. And it looks like she is trying to make it to the end to win. And, you know, Ace tells Huda too that it's just a major red flag that she lets people in so quickly. And again, this girl is using the mom thing, the mom card on Ace now and is saying, look, Ace, the way that I am reacting and the way that, or not even reacting, but the way that I'm acting in the villa and why I'm trying to go so in on one person is because I'm a mom. And Ace is like, okay, you know, I understand firsthand. My mom was a very young single mom. Like, I think she's just weaponizing the word like the fact that she's a mom. And the way that the people in the villa are reacting, they're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, it's not a revolutionary thing. If you're a mom, you're a mom. That's amazing. Like, everyone is so happy for you, but they're not gonna have this grand old reaction. They're not gonna treat you any differently because you are a mom. You know what I mean? And I think that's what she's thinking. And I just wish that the girls start having these honest conversations that the guys are with her. Because if you're like best friends, like they all are saying that they are, then you need to check your best friend and say, look, I don't know what you're doing, but the way that you're acting is not okay. You need to put her in line because the girl's on national television and she be looking crazy. She's looking crazy. These girls need to start being honest with her, and not one of them has said anything, and now that's frustrating me. Do I think they need to say something? I guess they don't need to say anything, but do I think they should? Absolutely, 100%. They should say something. If the guys have stepped up to tell her what they're seeing, because what they're seeing, I mean, yeah, they're not going in on you're looking crazy because of the way that you're talking, the way that you're acting, the way that you're talking to other people. They're not going in that far as to why we feel the way that we feel about her, but they're at least telling her some of it. And now I just think it's up to the girls to be honest with her. Maybe if the girls were honest with her, she could turn a new leaf. Maybe not. Probably not, but you never know, right? Like, I think it's on the girls, and now I'm looking to them to step it up, to really check her and say, Huda, you be acting crazy and you need to change. And this is exactly why America split you and Jeremiah up, because of the way that you're acting, the way that you're treating people, the way that you're talking to people. It's just not okay. You need to explore other connections. I want them to be honest, and it's frustrating that not one of them has said a word. I hope we can expect to see that in the next coming episodes, because I can only imagine things are going to go from bad to worse to ugly. Like I said earlier, this episode was really centered around the fact of Jeremiah not going up to Huda after the vote and checking on her. And that really just caused a downward spiral on Huda and her really going against Jeremiah. And she's in the shower talking smack about him out loud. I think one of the girls is in the shower too. And Jeremiah, I felt so bad for him in that moment because he wasn't eavesdropping on Huda in the shower. Like, he genuinely had his shower stuff ready to go. He wanted to use the shower and he was waiting in the hallway, and he can hear all the things that she was saying. She was saying, like, F this guy, he's a liar, I want nothing to do with him. My husband would never treat me this way, all this stuff, just mad trash about the guy. And I feel so bad for him. He looked just so upset. He looked like disheveled. And I just feel like, again, it's just all the more reason, if you're going to constantly spew all of these negative things at him, then why would his first instinct be, oh, let me go see how Huda is feeling? You know what I mean? Like, I also think maybe she kind of pigeon-toed him into not thinking for him to go check on her because he's scared of her, scared how she's going to react. I don't know. Like, I think there's so many reasons and maybe so many variables as to why he, in that moment, didn't check in on her after the vote. Do I think he should have? Of course. But I also think that there were other things at play, reasons why he didn't. But needless to say, it's a hot mess from here. And the hot mess continues because the new couples get a text at 5 a.m. and they find out that they're going on a date. They need to quietly leave the villa and leave for their date. I have some questions. How does this text not wake up the other islanders? So I'm thinking, do we think a producer goes and nudges one of the islanders and tells them to quietly get up, and then they quietly nudge the other islanders, and then they pretend that they get the text, and they kind of do that? Because how would the text wake up only the islanders that need to leave? And I don't know, because Huda, it wasn't in the middle of the night because it was 5 a.m. when they got the text, but Huda wakes up, doesn't see anyone around, and then goes and wakes up Taylor and nudges Taylor, is like, oh, they've all left, now they're on a date, and, starts sobbing essentially. But like, how did she not hear them leave when they left? Like, I have so many questions. This is like the stuff that I love. I need to know how TV shows are produced. I need to know all the little tricks of the trade because I just I love breaking down the fourth wall. I find it so fascinating. I think it was Hannah, when she finds out that they're going on a date, she's like, oh my gosh, the body isn't even cold yet. Talking about Charlie, which, I mean, what an analogy. I don't understand why Huda felt the need to wake up Taylor to tell him that they left the villa. Like, I think it was Nick that said it. He's like, waking someone up or waking up isn't going to bring them back. Like, she didn't need to do that. She didn't need to wake up Taylor from his little beauty sleep. It was just a lot. And again, it's just giving the possessiveness. And then the whole day she's crying and anxious and just crying and upset and sulking and all of those things. So there's nothing really much to say about when the Islanders go on the date and when they come back. Like, they all kind of have their individual dates going on, and basically when they come back is when things honestly combust and take another turn. So they all come back, and Huda sees them from a distance coming in by a boat. So she then, takes off her shirt. She's wearing a bathing suit, puts on sunglasses, and sits down on a daybed and is just ignoring absolutely everyone and everything and just is looking miserable. So when they all come in and they're all like, oh my gosh, like, everyone is so excited to see them, she's looking absolutely miserable and won't even bat an eyelash for any of the Islanders that walk in, which again, it's just like, this is the kind of stuff that brings people down. Regardless of if you're even now talking to them, your energy is what's bringing people down. And now it's not only your words and your actions, it's now your lack thereof actions, right? Like, it's just so toxic. It's so bad. And now this is why, again, I just think on all fronts, on all counts, is why she really needs to get out of that villa for not only herself, but for everyone. But anyways, she finally then goes and chats with the girls on how their date was. And mid-conversation, she's like, girls, I gotta go to the washroom. She leaves. She essentially spies and listens to Jeremiah talking to the guys. And this is where I'm like, oh my God, like, the whole location services thing kicks in that she said a few episodes ago, because she was listening to the entire conversation. So this is now where some of the things that the guys are saying to Jeremiah is really confusing me so much. And I don't understand what side these guys are on, because on one hand, the night prior, they essentially tried to vote out Huda because Huda and Jeremiah haven't explored any other connections. But now the next day after Jeremiah's date, they're getting mad at Jeremiah because he's now saying that he wants to explore a connection with Iris, and they're getting mad at him. It's like, guys, this is what you wanted from the beginning. And now that he's saying he wants to explore connection, now you're going to flip and now be on Huda's side. Make it make sense. I literally didn't understand at all what they were saying. And again, this goes to my point. There has to be some sort of producer manipulation at play, because these guys up until day 10 have been so hard set on Huda and Jeremiah. You guys need to explore other people. You have been coupled up since day 1, and this is why we need to break you apart so that you can explore other connections. Now that he is coupled up with someone else and he is exploring another connection, now they're getting mad at him. So Jeremiah is telling them that, he had a good time with Iris and he's looking to, explore things with Iris, especially because things with Huda is just absolutely so toxic. But then Nick is saying to him, and essentially having Huda's back, that he lost respect for Jeremiah the night prior because he didn't go and confront her, which, okay, I understand that. He didn't like how he handled the situation. But I'm like, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone because he's literally saying to him, on one hand, I voted for Huda because I need you guys to split up and to explore. But now, 24 hours later, not even, why are you coupling up with Iris? Like, why are you exploring things with Iris? You should be trying to patch things up with Huda. Make it make sense. I'm so confused. Did I miss something? What did I miss? I don't understand. Like, literally for 2 weeks, and Jeremiah even said, he's like, for 2 weeks, you guys have been telling me to explore other connections. The second I've explored another connection, now you're telling me that I should be exploring things with Huda? I literally am in the Twilight Zone. Like, I genuinely am confused. I had to rewatch that conversation multiple times because I was like, am I hearing this right? What are they arguing about? I need to rewind. It was beyond confusing. Like, so confused. Nick and Taylor are little Ace followers. They're little minions for Ace. They are saying anything and everything that Ace is spewing and saying. I am so confused. I don't understand, but I do like that Jeremiah stood his ground in his conversation and was like, I want to explore stuff with Iris. Everything between me and Huda is so toxic. A very, very confusing conversation. Huda then goes and, she had enough of the conversation. She heard enough. So she walks by the guys, turns around and gives Jeremiah the finger. And oh my gosh, she is just spitting all negativity at Jeremiah's way. She's calling him all kinds of names. Like, really, the mouth on this girl, it's not good. And even Cierra was like, girl, like, keep it classy, like, tone it down. She was really just, every other word she was swearing. And it's streaming services, so they're not gonna sugarcoat it. They're not gonna bleep anything out, but it's crazy to actually hear and see and get an in on the kind of language that she is using, because it's so bad. The way that she talks to the girls, to Jeremiah, to the bombshells, it's terrible. It's so bad. And then Huda's like, listen, I need to go and talk to Iris. So she goes upstairs, and Iris was with the other two bombshells, the two guys. And she says to them, look, can I have a moment with Iris? Can you guys leave and go downstairs? I just want it to be private between her. And I feel like the guys didn't want to leave because I think they were scared for her. So then they left. They go to the girls downstairs, and I think they were like, girls, like, go upstairs because we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know, like, we're scared for her a little bit. So the girls all go upstairs, and essentially Huda is asking her, like, what happened on the date? And I think Iris kept it cute. She kept it very tight-lipped. She was like, look, he told me he's interested in exploring things with me. He said that he's open to other connections. And it was very generic about the date. Huda asked, what did you guys do? She said, we were just sitting on the beach. And Huda's like, oh, my dream date. And he knows that. And I'm like, Huda, you think the guy planned the date? The date was planned for him. Huda is like, this information basically just, Huda lost it. She's bawling her eyes out. She is just constantly saying that everything that Jeremiah has said to her up until this point is a lie. Again, she is just losing me here. What about that he said is a lie? It's just like, have you not seen the patterns of how all this went down? He, first of all, is paired up with Iris. You've been acting crazy this entire time. He went on a date with her. He saw that there was no toxicity in the date. It was actually a healthy date. So yeah, now he's interested in her. So what part of him lying to you this whole time, I don't understand. I think they were very into each other at the beginning. I think they were both love bombing each other in the beginning. I think he slowly started to see her cards. I think he then stayed quiet about how he was feeling. I think then this whole America thing happened. And I think he is seeing it. And that's why I don't think they're showing what he's saying in his confessionals or what he's thinking or showing his interactions with Huda, because I think there's something there, something that they don't want us to see. I don't know what it is. And then he sees that he goes on this date with Iris. He enjoyed it. And now he doesn't want to be with Huda anymore. And I don't understand what part of their relationship has been a lie up until this point. Like, he's been very honest with her up until this point. So they have a conversation in the evening, and this is essentially where the episode ends, where they're in the speakeasy and Jeremiah starts from the beginning and says, look, I apologize for the way that I acted last night. I froze, and that's exactly what I said. Like, he froze. It looked like he saw a ghost. He's like, I shut down in that moment. I shut down, and I believe him. I genuinely believe that he shut down. And he looks her in the eyes like, I'm genuinely sorry for the way that I acted. And Huda just, doesn't take any of it, proceeds to tell him, you're just so selfish, and says that she just noticed patterns in his behavior that is extremely selfish. And again, I can't say it enough, this girl has to look at herself in the mirror, because the only selfish thing that I'm seeing is the way that she's acting. And she tells him, you don't care about me. You don't care about my feelings. You don't give a F about me, about almost getting voted off, and is also then blames him for sleeping in the same bed with Iris. And he's like, yo, like, what did you want me to do? Ace has already claimed soul ties. Where do you want me to go? He didn't say that. He should have. He should have said that. But she's like getting mad at him for sleeping with Iris. It's not like they can exchange beds and he can sleep with Huda. Like, it doesn't work that way. He's not going to sleep on the floor. So it's now just like she's making so much out of nothing. She is just spewing all of these storylines, putting things out there that only she wants to believe. And it's just so toxic, so bad. She tells him, I don't want anything to do with you. And again, I'm just like, why does Huda get the last word? I wish that Jeremiah was able, and I think it goes back to Jeremiah saying to Huda, I can't get a word in with you. You talk and talk and talk, and I can't say anything. So I just feel like it could be two things. It could be they're not wanting us to see his reactions to her and their conversation, like they're back and forth, or he genuinely just doesn't get a word in. Whatever it may be, I just hope and I think that they will not get back together. There's just no way. I really think that Huda needs to leave the villa. I still can't go over the fact at how the voting went. Like, these 2 episodes have been so insane when you actually take a step back and think about it. They've been so crazy, but I can only just hope that Huda just, you know what? Maybe if a bombshell comes in and Huda goes to that bombshell, maybe this whole thing will just stop. It'll put an end to everything, and Jeremiah can be with Iris. Not that I even think Jeremiah and Iris have that strong of a connection. Maybe a new bombshell will come in for Jeremiah. I don't know. But needless to say, something needs to change on Huda's end, and I think the best thing for her is for her to be removed from this island and the show, because I just don't think this is the right environment for her. And I hope when she leaves the island, she has a strong support system, because it's going to get crazy for her when she leaves. So I just talked a lot, but like I said, I warned you. I had a lot of thoughts. These 2 episodes, the tea was absolutely piping hot, and I am so curious to see what happens in the next episode. We find out in the preview that there is already a new recoupling. So it was like literally all of that for a day of recoupling. So I'm curious to see who chooses who. Is it going to be, shouldn't it be the girls choosing the guys? Because the guys have chosen already. So I'm so curious to see how it all plays out. But man, oh man, this season is really kicking it into gear. And Casa Amor is just around the corner because I think typically it's around episode 15 or 16. So look out for that. And look out for my next episode recapping episode, 12 and 13? Because that'll be out before you know it. That'll do it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please rate, subscribe, review, do all of the things. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yourrealitycheck.pod. And I cannot wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye.